Hey, Dimitri. I have a version of the Treant Demon in Engine now, which is super cool. Thank you for that. I thought I would walk you through this real quick, a couple bits and bobs. I haven't uploaded the images yet, but I can flip over here to show you. So, a couple things. So, one is I did kind of just a photo bash of your art to get proportions. Added some leafy bits for the upper fronds, and then I set the texture sheet. Texture sheet is 1024 by 1024, and the main bad tree dude is 512 by 512. So I figure 4 frames will be fine for the opening and the closing of the mouth. Primarily, and maybe some frond wiggles. Those are the main things. So we can always go to 8 frames if we need to, but we need to be careful with memory. The other thing here is that I really wanted I wanted to have the face a little higher than I wanted it to be, but in this particular case, but I wanted the face to be higher than the bottom, and we didn't need any space at the bottom of the texture for the roots. So for the roots, I took a look at this again here because these are going to be these like undulating roots. They're going to be pretty cool, right? So I think with the 512 by 128 height totally makes sense. And I think in order to get smoother undulation, we go to 8 frames on this case. I think we can probably do quite a bit with the frames. And then so that puts the sprite sheet at 1024 by 512 overall. So 8 frames of animation there. So couple things here that's different, right? So this is the way this is the image at the 1:1 resolution. So you can see here. So that's that. So this is the image. And the difference here is, so in order to get the parallax to be slow, because I don't want him to move as fast, you can see how fast he's moving, things further away from the camera in 3D space move slower than things closer to the camera. Also I really wanted to have the enemy fill the screen. So let's just take a look at this real quick. So here, hang on, let me see. Let me just turn off the sound real quick. All right, cool. And we'll pause right there. Yeah, so I was looking at this again, and I think our design where we have the roots separate makes sense for the undulation. I think this is the size of the bad dude that I want to have. And also, I mean, this basically kind of, strangely enough, after you do it, it's a little wider than the original bad dude, but it's pretty close. So. And then you can't really pay attention to the camera bits here. So the thing that's important to know is if I go into, and I'll upload a version of the project for you, so you'll have all this. All you have to do is replace the art to see how it feels. So here, if I go to the transform and I go and I set this to minus 255 from the camera, puts it further in the background. And I do the same thing for the roots. So and that's what gives us the slower parallax. But also, it's that's the other thing is that the scale of the asset, I'm scaling it by 500%. But as you can see here, like also you probably haven't seen this yet. So we have a new version of the engine as of today, and we're using the developer put in a new sprite scaling algorithm that makes the sprites, when they're scaled up, look more crisp and less pixelated. So which kind of helps in this case as well. So that's the other thing, because if we wanted to fill the whole screen with a full texture, it would be we'd have another giant texture, and at some point the giant textures are going to they bloat the executable size, but they also they're more expensive to render. So that's how we've set this up. It's very similar to the way the previous guy was set up. So okay, coming back to this. All right, so at first, because we had these trees in the background, I thought that we would shade this guy in darker shades to make it feel like he's more recessed in the background. But I think what we can do, we'll try this version, right? So the previous version, we had more space underneath the trunk, and you can take a look here. So basically the way it looked, right? So and then what I was finding is that players were they were afraid because you touch enemies in the game and you get hurt. Fair enough. And so then what they were doing is they were starting to like feel like they needed to go down here underneath the trunk, which really wasn't what the intention is. You never know until you play test these things. And so I think this time around, instead of having that empty space, because what I was trying to do, right, I was trying to get these to feel like they're further back in the background. It's nice that we added the ground plane here, right? And it just, it wasn't quite working. I thought maybe we do a shading. So long story short, let's go. We'll leave the normal shading. And I think what will happen here is, because there's no clear exit, right, from the enemy, I think players will try to shoot it. They'll be resistant. They'll probably hold back. And then at some point, they don't have a choice, right? So even if they're pushed to the far back of the screen, they'll eventually cross over it. So, and I think that'll be fine in this case. Yeah. So, okay. So let's see, I'll add the sprite sheets. Also, one other small thing is that when we're naming our sprite sheets, I've been noticing you've been leaving off the resolution. So you've been marketed as, excuse me, I'm tired, long night, a long day, as just 1024, but not every texture is square. So we need to make sure we add the, by whatever else the texture dimension is. So, and then I mentioned this in the other Trello card. So what I'm doing right now is I'm not measuring, because sprite sheets might change. So the resolution that I mark for the enemy is always just what a single frame is. So as we, build them into sprite sheets, so that's fine in that case. So, yeah, okay. I think those are the main things. I'm excited to see where we go with this thing. I think also I might have an advanced version of the demon, the Treant demon, where maybe the eyeballs, and the cool thing is we'll be able to do, because we have 4 frames, we can make the eyeballs kind of get luminous a bit. Or I might put some lights here from the engine, so we have kind of a little bit of particles, maybe like some like ghostly like yellow fire. That might be pretty cool. What else? I think those are the main things. So yeah, so I'm excited about this version. So I think this is all how it's all put together. Again, I'll give you a version of the project, of course, and now you have the guidance for the textures. So otherwise, I'm enjoying, I think, where we're at stylistically, and I'm looking forward to the detail pass, of course, and then animation. So it took a little while to kind of pull it back into the engine, but that's it. All right, I'll talk to you later. Thanks. Bye.